I think the big thing that we've learned in the last few holes is that Northeast Tyro in particular is going to be open at depth. What we're seeing in the mineralization and what we're seeing in the grades and the tenure and the widths is that zone's getting wider. We're still seeing a high intensity of mineralization, a lot of energy in the system, and we're still seeing really good grades. And I think that really portends to the fact that this thing is going to go deeper. And it's going to be deeper. And the reason I say it's going to go deeper, the drilling that we've done to date, that's going to encompass the maiden resource. So when we put that maiden resource out later this year, we think the deposit will remain open at depth based on what we've seen in the last few holes. Yeah, so everything that we drilled in the 21,000 meter program from kind of September to May, in September 2025 to May 2026, all of those holes will be included. From a timing perspective, we're just in the process of compiling the data. We're giving guidance late Q3, early Q4 as being kind of the timeline as to when we would get that out and publish it. Yeah, so what we're looking for, the Frisco Graben is a really big target. It's a really big opportunity. It's 4 kilometers by 750 meters wide. We have this big alteration zone at surface. It has all the evidence, say maybe gold assays at surface, that you'd want to see in a large scale, low sulfidation epithermal system. Draws parallels to the Silicon and Merlin. The challenge that we have is it is a big target, and we don't have a lot of Pathfinder. We don't have Pathfinder elements in our in our geochemistry, so we don't have sort of typically what you'd see is arsenic or mercury. We don't have those things. And so what we're trying to do is figure out a way, a cheat code, if you will, to make it a little bit easier for us to get into those zones. And so one of the things that we're working on is testing periphery to the Frisco Graben and kind of working our way in. So we did that. So at Northeast Tyro is a big structure. It's a big structure that runs to the northeast, and it ends at the Frisco Mine Fault, which is one of the controlling structures of the Frisco Graben. Our view is that the potential exists for that Tyro structure to continue into the Frisco Graben. It's just displaced, so we don't see it at surface, probably dropped. And so we're going to keep chasing Tyro till we get to the Frisco Mine Fault, and then we're going to chase it on the other side of the Frisco Mine Fault to see if we can find it. I think for us that de-risks the Frisco Graben because we have to drill a lot of holes out there to figure it out. And I think having some of these peripheral areas kind of letting us, zoom in from the edges to understand the mineralization better is going to de-risk that program when we go to do it. Yeah, so while we're still working on the details of it, but it looks like we'll probably drill about 30,000 meters next year. And so when I say next year, that's September to May, September 2026 to May 2027. That 30,000 meters in my mind is going to be focused on defining the limits of Tyro. Obviously, as we've kind of talked about earlier, it's going to be open at depth. It's going to be open along strike. And so we got to go in there and test those things. And that's going to consume some meters. We want to go test the Frisco Graben. I think that we're going to try and, kind of ease our way into it as we talked about, but the honest answer is there. What we want to do is be aggressive out there and figure it out. Lastly, I think we've had success at a lot of step out targets this year. I think some of those holes, like at Black Dyke, 36 meters at a gram, or Sheep Trail, which is 32 meters at a gram, those are good holes in the context of what you would see in the Southwest US. For Gold Chain, because those holes are 600 meters and 4 kilometers from Tyro, respectively, Tyro casts a big shadow. And so those are areas where we think we can define resources, and there's opportunity for upside on grade. And so those are areas that we're also going to pursue with that 30,000 meters. And so, I think the key thing is, as you mentioned, those cash reserves. Well, what happens when we drill 30,000 meters? We also have about $9 million of in-the-money warrants beyond the $28 million of cash we had at the end of Q1. And our view is that, based on our budgeting, if we drilled those 30,000 meters, we'd have about $15 million Canadian at the end of that 30,000 meter campaign. Yeah, so we want to define the limits of Tyro, stretch it as deep as we can, take it as far to the northeast as we can. We want to test the Frisco Graben. I think that's a home run type scale target. And then we want to go and test some of the places we had success this year, like Black Dyke and Sheep Trail.